everybody, this is Kodak here. I am still working on the next 7 Deadly Sins of trading card game design. It's going to be about life decking, which is the astonishingly common behavior in card games where your deck is considered your life total, the number of cards remaining, and deck out is the only win condition, and how it is like basically antithetical to the entire concept of a trading card game. But today I'm doing a quick follow-up to like a little one-off gag I made in my other video, which is specifically about card games and how they do like these sorts of like special promotional bundles. Now what I'm talking about is I'm talking about things like starter decks with exclusive cards, or box toppers, or tins, things that a game company puts out to try to incentivize people to either buy a product a multiple number of times, or to maybe sell up and buy something more expensive, like how the tins will contain an exclusive cards. And for the sake of brevity, when I say the word tin, I don't just literally mean the tins, I mean any sort of trading card game thing where the core incentive to buy it is that it comes with an exclusive card. So I mean like the tins, which are our most famous example. I'm also meaning like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Special editions, or the big ol' like cardboard Pokemon boxes, which have like the oversized card in them and stuff. Anything that's like that, where getting an exclusive card is a big incentive to buy the bundle, that is what I'm going to refer to as a tin. And they might include exclusive cards or handy goodies, like they might have like playmats and life counters, card storage, all sorts of neat stuff, like a basic set of resource cards. But the reason I wanted to talk about that is Magic the Gathering. I'm sure half of you, just from hearing that, know exactly what I'm talking about. Lately they've been putting out these sort of special edition, sort of tin-like things called Secret Lairs. And what they are is they are reprints of popular cards with alternate artwork. And alternate artwork, or, you know, like some sort of like borderless card or something like that. Neat cards. Maybe not the rarest or like most fanciful, but it's more for like appreciation of the craft, although it can also be a way to get your hands on some cards that maybe aren't so good. They're usually priced pretty reasonably, between like $20 to $50, I think. Previously, I don't know if the Legacy set, the Legacy Commander set that they put out a while back, which was like 4 Commander decks that altogether were $165, which, considering a Commander deck is $30 and these were old Commander decks, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because what these things are is they are sort of a way to incentivize people to buy more product, but what they are is they are a service. What they are is, you know, if there's one thing I know about trading card games based on the Pokemon card Ultra Ball, it's that trading card game players are more than happy to pay a little extra to get a guarantee. So what these little enticements, these cards, these extra little goodies that you might get, the box toppers, all of those things, what they are is they are supposed to be the delivery of a guarantee. I mean, particularly with like the tins, how you are guaranteed to get one really nice card depending on what goes on in the tins. I know if you bought like the Hoopa EX, you were definitely getting a good card, but you're guaranteed one really nice card in the stash you get. You're paying a little extra for, you're still buying the booster packs. You're maybe throwing away the value of one booster pack in order to get both a guaranteed rare card and what can debatably be called card storage. But here's the thing about the Secret Lairs is, you know, they contain just the cards. They don't come with, you know, bonuses or anything like that. But what Magic the Gathering has done is they have put out the Secret Lair Ultimate Edition. Ooh! This thing it's big. It's got a big old box with a gold label, and it's currently retailing for about $400. Oh man, what could be in there? Is it like a collection of all of the other Secret Lairs? Could it be like a full spread of Brawl decks loaded with awesome promo cards, a playmat, a limited edition print, and a copy of Black Lotus printed on a piece of the Shroud of Turin? If only. The Magic the Gathering Secret Lairs Ultimate Edition contains 5 cards. Yeah! 5 cards. No booster packs, no decks, just 5 cards. And the reason that these things are you know, this has caused such an uproar, aside from the fact that they're charging $80 for a card, or arguably $70 per card and $50 for the fancy box they come in, is that these cards are the Fetchlands, and Fetchlands are these little kind of cards called a staple card. Now, a staple card is this isn't actually a Fetchland. It's Stone Quarry. It's a common from M19, which they probably should have reprinted the Fetchlands in. A staple card is specifically a card that can make basically any deck better. It fits into any deck regardless of what that deck strategy might be. Again, going back to Ultra Ball, Pokemon is a game where you use Pokemon to fight other players' Pokemon, and Ultra Ball is a card that lets you get out any Pokemon at any time. So it works well in the deck because it gives you exactly what you need to win. The same is true of the Fetchlands. A Fetchland allows you to not only search your deck for the specific kind of land card that you want, but it also thins the deck a little bit, so you are less likely to draw a land card when you are in a desperate situation later in the game when you really don't want to be drawing land cards. It has the added side effect of powering up Tarmogoyf, but here's the thing, is these Fetchlands, even though they are staple cards, were only printed in one set, so a lot of them are valued really high, and the big problem with that is because, like I said, they are staple cards. They are not components of some sort of niche strategy. They go in basically every modern deck. So the fact that their secondary market prices are pretty crazy. They are usually somewhere between $50 to $70. It's crazy to have a land card that is that expensive. And here's Magic the Gathering essentially charging $80 for that. And it's caused a huge uproar. Even people that I think Wizards thought would treat the product charitably are giving it the thumbs down. It's been quite the heck show, to tell you what. Here's the thing is, I imagine Hasbro foresees that they are probably going to sell all of these anyway. There are people who are rich enough and desperate enough that they will buy these, but it has clearly come at the cost of the erosion of trust. So let me go back a little bit. Like I said, these sorts of products I see here, they're designed to be a service for a trading card game player. They are paying you a bit of extra money to get a guarantee or some other useful thing. That's the exchange you're getting there. How does selling 5 cards for $400 help out the players? Frankly, it doesn't. It's not providing a service for your basic game players. If anything, it's openly manipulating the secondary market, which is kind of bad on itself. So I think it's time for enough introduction. What I am trying to talk about today is how to do ethical, how to create these kinds of products and have them be done in an ethical fashion where the people who are buying them, they want to get these things, so they don't feel like beleaguered or penalized or feel like they're being forced to buy all sorts of crap that they don't want or feel like they're being severely overcharged for it. So how do you design these sorts of products humanely? Well, first of all, like I said, the tin is a promise. The tin, you got a really cool looking card. It's an alternate art card. It's one you can get in the set, but the tin gives you, like I said, the guarantee of getting one, and it also comes in a cool alternative artwork. So if you're looking for trades, it obviously is not going to have the same value as one pulled out of a pack, or especially not a full art or something like that. So that amount of fairness is still there. You can still tell that what you got was a promo. And it can say, kid, you pulled that out of a tin. It's not worth as much as the one I got out of a pack. But you're still getting cards. I mean, Secret Layers is kind of bad. The worst I have ever seen Pokemon even come close to doing is like this big old $100 set, but even then, even though it contains only like 3 promo cards in there, it is offset by about $70 worth of packs. It's like 15 packs, but they're like the premium edition packs, so they're normally like $5 instead of $4, so that's like $70 in packs, $75 in packs, and they come with some cool stuff, like a ton of card storage, or like this big old statue, or a special playmat or something like that. You get your value out of it, even though you're not spending all of your money on cards. You're being given a service. The Deck Builder's Toolkit. It might not contain a lot of very good cards, but it does contain a lot of what people need to get started. It contains a full suite of land cards, and it comes in a nice card storage box that you can use, and that's really good. Same with the Pokemon Elite Trainer box, only those also include the tokens and things you need to succeed. Decks are a bit of a stickier subject, because deck exclusives are a commonly used way to get people to spend additional money on cards, to buy, you know, extra copies of the deck to make sure that they get all of the exclusives in there. And I have seen a lot of hemming and hawing about it, and I do believe that there is an ethical way to do it. The most infamous case of this is Yu-Gi-Oh!, where they essentially make you buy a deck, buy like 3 copies of a deck if you want to get full playsets of all the cards in there. But on the other hand, I'd say a lot of the resentment that comes with buying decks, like having to buy multiple copies of a deck to get the exclusive cards in there, it's sort of, you know, a trash ratio. Like, how many of the cards that I'm getting in these subsequent decks are cards that are completely useless to me? For example, Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks, they usually don't have any duplicate cards. They have like maybe 1 or 2 duplicates in the deck somewhere. So if you buy 3, you're getting a bunch of playsets of stuff, and you're not really getting a lot of chaff. Maybe a handful of cards, enough cards that you can count on one hand, like maybe 3 copies of a duplicate and a couple copies of a card that's currently on the limited list and on the restricted list, and that's probably about it. With games like Magic or Pokemon, though, if you try to force cards in there, or even Luck and Logic here, if you try to force exclusive cards in there, there are a ton of like 2-ofs and 4-ofs already in that deck, and of course all the resource cards, all of that from the second deck is going to be garbage. Everything that is anything that's more than a 2-of is going to be trash, garbage. People aren't going to need it. Nobody needs 8 copies of the Azorius Guildgate. Nobody's going to be putting 55 islands in their deck. So when it comes to things like the Pokemon, and I don't think Pokemon does deck exclusives anyway. Pokemon decks just kind of stink. But Magic, I think the Planeswalkers have exclusive cards in them. People will resent it because they're essentially purchasing a ton of garbage. So if you're going to be doing deck exclusives, try to minimize the sense that a player is purchasing garbage. If you are not doing it like Yu-Gi-Oh!, where people can essentially get a bunch of cards with very little trash in there, try to make it so that a person doesn't have to buy more than 2 copies of your deck to get all of the cards available in there. I mean, people will, you know, they'll buy a deck a second time. They'll have like an extra play set of all the things that have more that have like the full play set of 4 or anything. But you know, those you can trade them, you can give them away, you can use them as tokens. It's still a lot of trash, but I don't think people are as resentful as like if they'd have to buy 4 copies of the Dovin deck in order to get enough copies of Dovin to actually put in their deck. That, and if you try to make people buy tons of copies of one deck, you're dealing with a problem where if somebody comes in and buys up all the copies of the deck because they need that many copies of the card in order to play, you're encountering a situation where other people won't be able to get them. So all things in moderation. If you're going to do a thing where you need to get people to buy multiple decks, try to minimize either the number of purchases or the amount of trash. And then we have the box toppers. Oh, there's a sticky subject. A box topper is a card that is included if you buy like a full box of booster packs. Like this is like a retailer box. Like they buy the box, they open it up, they set it up as a display and sell them one by one. But if you as a player instead just buy the box straight up, what a lot of games will do is they will have like a special promo card inside, like I have over here, for Luck and Logic, a game that is dead, which is why I was able to get the cards on the cheap. They make fantastic examples. Especially Luck and Logic's, because Luck and Logic's promo cards are misprinted. You get like a neat little treatsy inside. You get a promo card that you can't get any other way. And like I said, these are kind of hotly debated because Magic the Gathering likes to do those too, but they have a bad habit of making really good competitive cards the box topper exclusive. Cards like Crux of Fate. That's a problem. If you create a card that influences the meta so much, where people essentially have to spend like $400, $500 on boxes to get enough copies of it to really be competitive, that's inhumane. That's the same problem as the Ultimate Secret Lair. You're playing with fire at that point. Although, like I said, here's the thing, is you want the box topper card to be cool. You don't want it to, because that's a really delicate balancing act, because you want it to feel like you got something cool for putting in the commitment to buying a full box to grabbing a brick, but at the same time you don't want it to break the game. You don't want people to feel like they got something lame. So my proposal is, you know, kind of like with the tins, why not make it like a special edition version of one of the mythic cards in the set? So that way when people buy a brick, it's like, ooh, there's this really good card I can get in the set, but I'm guaranteed to get at least one if I buy a brick. Maybe I should get a brick to get this really cool card. That might be a good thing. Or make the contents of the brick something that you only ever need one of. Like, I'm sure this is going to get a lot of anger, but what if the box toppers for Magic the Gathering were a commander version of one of the mythic planeswalkers from the set, like an oversized commander version that you can show off? Like I said, I don't know if that would go over well with how much a Magic brick costs. But if it's something that you only need like one or two of, like the Fetchlands, they have the problem that every deck needs the Fetchlands. Every deck in Modern needs the Fetchlands. People talk about how Modern players just settle into their decks and don't buy standard sets. If they reprinted the Fetchlands, people would buy, Modern players would buy standard packs like crazy. But even cards, you know, other cards that would be considered staples that were kind of hard to get, like Shaman EX and Tapu Lele GX, those you usually didn't need more than one or two of in your deck in order to get the most bang for your buck out of them. Because too many of those and you actually have a problem where your deck can't function properly because you keep drawing into these guys. But, you know, maybe something like that, something that makes a solid one-of in every deck would be a good box topper. Pokemon actually has an interesting thing. It needs work, clearly. I think it's clearly designed more for newer players. But what they do is they actually treat like their starter decks and their tins and their big boxes as sort of an ensemble set. Like they will put out the decks. Like recently they put out the Sword and Shield set. They put out a starter deck for every starter Pokemon, which is what they do whenever a new generation came around. And then they put out a tin that features a super strong version of the final evolution of those starter Pokemon. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to buy the deck to get yourself started. Then you're supposed to buy the tins to get the special cards in there, which also come with a few booster packs and debatably act as card storage. So the idea is that by acting as an ensemble, you're slowly building things outwards. I think that might be similar to like the guild packs they did in the Ravnica guild packs are the guild, like the super boosters that had 35 cards in for $7. Oh, there's another good idea, bad idea. Selling 35 cards for $7. Bad idea. Selling 15 cards for $25. Worse idea. Selling 5 cards for $400. But those like oversized theme boosters, I think they were great. I would love to see like more games try out like the theme boosters. I think they might be a response to how Bushiroad does like the fighter packs and stuff like that. But honestly, I think Magic the Gathering does it a bit better because you're not necessarily just stuck in that area. Like if you buy an Azorius guild pack, you're getting the blue cards and the white cards, but I don't think they're all necessarily Azorius. Like you might get it might be a Boros card that's pure white or something like that. I think I got a few of those in my Azorius guild packs, or I could be wrong. I might be remembering it incorrectly, but those are things as a service. They are narrowing the number of cards you can get to the colors you're specifically looking for, and they're giving them to you at a good value. So instead of buying a $4 booster pack, I have now bought a $7 booster pack. What else do I want to say about it? Yeah, the ensemble approach is nice. Avoiding trash from buying multiple theme decks is nice, including incentives such as card storage or tokens is always nice. Like I said, that would be the thing that I'd really want to add to a Planeswalker deck, would be a spin down life counter of some kind, or maybe one of those like upper deck like dial life counters. I think they're called relic tokens. Those are pretty cool. They're great little life counters. I've got a couple. But yeah, that's a subject of debate. Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast have definitely demonstrated how you can do it wrong. And that is something that, you know, I'm citing extra credits again. They refer to something as a trust value. So that even if a product, like, sells well, if you get, like, a lot of spoken, you know, outrage against it, then there's a chance that even though you've made some immediate money with the goal, that you might have damaged yourself long-term and lowered your trust value. And this Ultimate Edition, this Secret Lairs Ultimate Edition, I guarantee, has done a ton of damage to Magic the Gathering's trust value. I imagine these sorts of things. I imagine there's going to be more of them coming. People can't get enough of the Secret Lairs, or at least Hasbro can't get enough of the Secret Lairs. But we'll just have to see if anything good comes out of this. So anyway, and until the next video, this is Kodak signing off.